Right. Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. We are streaming this and recording this live on YouTube. There is right. Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. We are streaming this and recording this live on YouTube. There is hello. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. We are streaming this and recording this live on YouTube. Uh, okay. All right, we're going to try this again. There was feedback. Good evening. My name is Jeffrey DeShawn Richardson, and I am a coach and therapist and the founder of We the People Community Health Worker Corps here at Restoration Station, working in collaboration and partnership with Damien Ministries. And tonight I am sharing via our YouTube my POWERSeat seminar, which is a personal life, spiritual life growth workshop and seminar that is focused on re-establishing or helping to establish relationship and connection between meditation and prayer as a tool of recovery, as a tool of healing. And that's what we're going to talk about here tonight with this POWERSeat seminar. I'm going to share some tools and strategies that I believe can help individuals begin to step back into their seat as the authentic leader of their life. Though you may have moved through or be moving through trauma, challenge in life, that does not define your future. There are steps that you can take, strategies that we all can employ to be able to move beyond what a current moment or moments of the past. In my coaching and therapeutic work, I'm often asked, how do I let go? Right? How do I let go of the trauma? How do I move beyond where I was? And through years of both professionally at the organizational advising level and individually coaching and counseling, of working with individuals and particularly leaders who've managed to continue to move forward, to let go, and to find room for growth that they may realize, have been able to realize, expanding careers, aspects of their life that they never thought possible, because they've been able to tap into some key behaviors and characteristics and traits that really enable them to be able to, though life throws some blows, get back in or never get knocked out of the power seat of life as the authentic leader of their life. And I'm here to share some of those observations and strategies with you as encouragement and as an introduction to some of the life navigation services and resources that are available through Inspire Muse Coaching and Management, my coaching and management practice, as well as our partnership here at Restoration Station and our great nonprofit and other partners and wellness practitioners that we partner with here at Restoration Station, DC. So I just want to share a little bit of why I'm sharing this Power Seat seminar tonight. It is International Overdose Awareness Week, and we're observing that here with some of the work that we have been doing around opioid overdose prevention and response. And the reality is that very often when it comes to addiction, however we find ourselves in addictive relationships with consumption, that very often those things that are imbalanced in our life that we are consuming are imbalanced as a mechanism for dealing with feelings of pain, of loss, of trauma, right? Physical pain that brings and triggers pain in mind and emotion, right? I can't do what I used to do, can't be present like I used to be present. And our overconsumption of anything, not just substances, food, imbalanced behaviors with some activities can knock us out of our power seat as well. Our overconsumption and imbalanced relationship with things, with people, can position us that we are not moving through our life as our authentic selves. And so tonight, we've been doing a host of series of activities this week here in Washington, D.C., particularly connected with our prevention centers. And I wanted to share this workshop and this set of tools because I think they are applicable when it comes to addiction and overconsumption and the imbalance of consumption with any kind of substance or thing. And so tonight, I am hopeful. My goal is to provide some information, some strategy and tools that will support you in reclaiming your spirit and illuminating your mind to take your seat as the authentic leader of your life. So who am I again, if you don't know? My name is DeShawn Richardson. I am a life and career coach. I am a therapist. I work with individuals and organizations to identify, clarify, and move away blockades to progress, growth, and scale. So whether you are an organization that is trying to identify and clarify blockades to progress, growth, and scale, or whether you are an individual trying to do that in your own life so that you can tap into your internal innovation and then innovation within teams and innovation within your own life experience. I come in as a coach, counselor, and advisor, working in collaboration with others to support you in gaining clarity and insight, whether as an individual or as a team or organization. And I have been blessed to do that for the last 20 plus years, working with individuals and organizations across sector and government and nonprofit within the private sector, as well as working with individuals both through a coaching practice and a now counseling therapeutic practice. So again, what is POWERSeat? This is a personal spiritual life coaching seminar. This is for the person that says, look, I've been trying to figure out how do I let go? How do I move beyond these traumas, these pains, these stagnation, this stuff? And I need some tips. I need some tools. And my coaching and counseling work, very often people come in and they need tips and tools and they're looking for tips and tools. And that's what this workshop, this seminar, this experience is set up to provide you with some tips and tools. How do you get back into the seat and position as the authentic leader of your life, though life has thrown you some challenges, though you've been knocked about? How do you reclaim your focus and your place. All right. So my goal with this is to inspire, to energize, reconnect, and inform so that you may begin to retool your relationship with yourself and your relationship with change in your life. Very often we avoid change because it requires us addressing the things that have been painful, the things that have been traumatic. We avoid change because we're not sure if we can sustain the implementation that is required. So I'm hopeful tonight to provide you with some inspiration, um, gift you some energy, and begin to give you some tools to help you reconnect and inform your relationship with yourself as the authentic leader of your life. Why am I doing this? Well, we need it. We need it, whether it's coaching and career transitions or whether counseling around personal life issues or the intersection of both. I continually encounter others who are trying to move beyond where they have been and find themselves unable to do so. And I've been blessed to work with leaders and individuals who have moved forward in life and career and have been able to do so. And so I've been able to observe and watch others employ different behaviors and different strategies that have been effective. And then in my own life, navigating change management, have found prayer and meditation to be anchor tools to refocusing my sight line when I get distracted, repositioning myself with confidence as the who and what I am in life, and then being able to move beyond whatever caused me challenge, trauma, or pain. And so I want to share that with others because whether it's in my personal life, just walking through the day, in my professional life as a career coach and a therapeutic counselor, I'm hearing the need for folks to have some strategy and tools to be able to let go and move beyond. The reality is, no matter how confident we are, and I'm talking this to my strong friends out there, how strong and confident we are, how successful we have been, at some point in our life, something is going to come along and rock our boat and knock our world. Many of us, COVID-19 and everything that precipitated following was such an event that knocked us out of our power seat, knocked us out of our usual flow, our traditional sustainment models, our survival patterns were completely altered and changed. And for many in life, that has felt like finding yourself having to tread water. You don't know if you can't remember how to swim or don't know how to swim. You don't know if anybody sees you or hears you. You don't know if anybody's going to come and extend a hand before you begin to drown. Many of us have found ourselves feeling like that in life. And many of us have also found ourselves feeling like we've been set out to trek a snow-capped mountain. They said there's something up there at that point. There's something further. There's some folks in education programs, career training programs, in relationships. There's trekking through. Not sure if you got everything you need. Not sure if somebody's going to be there to receive you at the end or what's going to be there at the end of it. But you're just trekking through, pushing through life. Then there are others that may feel like you've been set up to climb a mountain. Right? You started out knowing there was somebody on the ground that was there supporting you. You get halfway up. You don't know if there's somebody. You're starting to doubt if there's somebody up top. And you don't know if they're still down there. And you don't know if the rope is going to hold. But here you are hanging on a dream, hanging on a hope. And then sometimes it feels like something has occurred, good or not good, that has rushed you to a cliff. And you don't know what lies beneath. You don't know once you jump if you're going to remember how to swim. You don't know if you hit the water, if you're going to run into a rock. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know you have to go forward. You don't know how, but you know you have to dive forward. And then there are also those of us who've made it to the mountaintop. We've achieved success. We've had success in a career. We've had a successful role. We've accomplished money. You've gotten the relationship. You've had children. And now what? I'm talking to some of my empty nesters out there who are feeling like change needs to occur, but doesn't know how. And I'm fearful to do something new because what if I can't make it to the mountaintop? What if I can't remember how to fly? right? There are all these things that can occur that will knock us out of the confident place in life that I call our authentic seat as the authentic power, as the authentic leader of our life, our power seat. That place is the authentic leader of our life at any moment in time, no matter how much money we have, right? No matter how educated we are, something can come along. And what I've observed is individuals who are able to in life move beyond and continue to press forward. You hear stories, it's like, oh my goodness, all they've been through, how were they able to push forward? Oh my goodness, they've had so many different businesses or careers, and how did they push forward to finally end up being so successful? Well, they found a way to learn from the experiences of the past, to strengthen, make better, make wiser themselves and their entities or organizations, to then let that change, that new knowledge and awareness, drive change and transformation. And found a way to sort of to move out of fear in being able to do so. And I want to share some tips and tools as to how we do that. How do we avoid what I call the stagnation loop, right? Getting off life stagnation loop of being stunted, stagnated, stalled, left standing, or stopped. There's something for many of us that has happened, or someone that came into the room of our lives that left us stunted, stagnated, stalled, standing, and stopped. For many, it was COVID. For folks that's been losing a job, right? Economic crisis, health crisis for many, talking about COVID, has left us stuck, not knowing how do I proceed? Can I proceed? Right? Past relationships, past experiences with money, things that have frozen us in time. And coaching and counseling, I hear very often, how can I move beyond these things, Jeffrey DeShawn? How can I let them go? How can I get off of the life stagnation loop? Well, life hack number one, you must acknowledge your truth. In this 24-hour social media world, we're often encouraged and subconsciously told a story that we can only acknowledge and should only acknowledge that which is good, that which is glowing, that which is celebratory, that which is everybody will think is great. False, false, false. You got to acknowledge it all. That doesn't mean run down the street, tell all your business, walk into the office and tell all your business. That means within your own consciousness, we have to step out of the place of denial and acknowledge where we have been, what we have done, and how it has impacted us. You must first acknowledge. You got to acknowledge that that relationship went bad. You got to acknowledge what you did wrong in it. You got to acknowledge the mistake that got you fired. You have to acknowledge the pain that others brought into your space or that you experienced. You can't deny it. And this is particular to my strong friends that frequently often say, I got it. I'm done with that. The move on quick club. I've been there. You got to take a breath and a pause, not to wallow in it. Don't tear it by the gravesite too long, as a wise sage once told me. But you have to acknowledge what has occurred. Because when you don't acknowledge what has occurred, you can never understand what fully is and be aware of what you have and are navigating through to go forward. So we often end up boom, 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 boom. It's like sort of, Pac-Man or Tetris, one of those games, just trying to, and we can't because we don't know the landscape. We don't know the sight line because we haven't acknowledged what we've actually experienced. So number one life hack we must acknowledge. I don't care what it sounds like, looks like, find safe space to acknowledge what you have experienced that may have left you stunted, stagnated, standing, stalled, or stopped. Because the reality is, at any given point in life, our life can feel like we're forced to jump off cliffs, tread water, or left climbing a trail. At any given point in our life mapping, we can find ourselves there. And so if we don't acknowledge how we got there previously, we aren't gifting ourselves the opportunity to be fully equipped to be able to help better navigate the next time something comes, because we haven't given ourselves the opportunity to have the awareness of, one, how we got there, how we navigated, and what occurred, right? And so it's important to recognize that our life pattern will not all be peaks of achievement. At some point in time, some crisis will occur that may bring about a collapse. It happens. Crisis and collapse happen. Achievement balances out our focus on crisis and collapse, right? So in the moments of crisis and collapse, we must remember what we have achieved. We must be reminded that which we have overcome before, that which we've accomplished before. And so that's part of the acknowledgement. If we never acknowledge the full picture, we can get frozen in the stuck place. So we must acknowledge the challenge and the good, so that when the challenge comes, we have some tools to pull from that can bring us back to that strong place, that equipped place, that aware place. Because ultimately, while many of us in life often sort of sends us this message that the helicopter ride to the top, right? Pick me up and make me rich. Pick me up and take me there. Pick me up and put me underneath and bring me out pretty, right? That is the helicopter ride to the top is the way to get there. But the reality is the most sustainable way to get there is through. It is by taking steps. I have a colleague that is a brand taking steps towards wellness. We have to take the steps. Equilibrium is what brings balance, and we achieve equilibrium by imbalance. One step forward, one foot still back. One step pull forward, one step still back. We actually are balanced. Equilibrium is actually exercising our stretch. It's actually movement. It's actually action. It's actually that which moves us out of the comfort zone, but gradually takes us forward. And when we don't rush to the helicopter to the top, the reality is if we get to the top and we need to go back down, we can do so because what? We walk the route. We know the path back down. We know what it's going to take to get back down because we knew what it took to get back up. But when we get the quick helicopter ride to the top, well, one, you didn't fly the vehicle, so you can't get yourself back down. Two, you don't know the route, right? And three, if they usually have to drop you and go, can't sit there, so you're left waiting on somebody. When we dare trust ourselves to take steps towards our own healing and wellness and allow ourselves to gradually grow, stretch, improve through acknowledgement of all that has occurred, not just the good, but also acknowledging that which has left us stunned, stagnated, stalled, and stopped, then we can actually begin to have a formula and a pattern that gets us back into our power seat quicker and quicker when things happen in life. And as we've just talked about, things will happen in life. So how do we hold this equilibrium? How do we find this balance? If we know things are going to happen in life and we know that we are more stable, right, in our careers or in our personal life when we're actually exercising, taking action steps forward. But how do you take action steps forward if stuff is coming at you, right, to knock you out your power seat? How do you take action steps forward and hold equilibrium, Jeffrey DeShawn? How you do all that? Well, I'm going to tell you how I did it and how I'm doing it. And one of the tools, some of the tools that I've observed others who've been who've been successful at overcoming that which life will throw at you. Acknowledge. Number one, back at the beginning, you have to acknowledge where you are and what you've been through. I don't care how painful it is. I don't care how noisy it is. I don't care if you don't want to ever say their name. Write it out. Write a letter to yourself. Write a letter to them, but you have to acknowledge it. How can you move through if you don't know what you've navigated through? You have to acknowledge it. And in that, once you acknowledge it, whatever is holding you mentally and emotionally stuck, you got to correct it. Very often, it is our own tapes of the past that hold us hostage. It is what I didn't do, what I couldn't do, what they did. We have to correct those messages. I don't save money. I never travel and go anywhere because I don't never got no money. Well, if you keep telling yourself you don't never travel and go nowhere because you ain't got no money, you're never going to travel and go anywhere and you're never going to have any money. But then I like to say, but hold on, you ain't never went nowhere and then had no money. So that wasn't you on that trip down in Florida at Disneyland back in 2012. Well, yeah, that was right after Mama had passed and we had the money from the insurance and decided to take the kid. Well, you got some money. You held it for a period of time and you decided to do something. That means you can save some money. Didn't you buy Christmas presents last year? How you buy all that stuff? Well, yeah, I saved up, starting in June, 50, but that don't count as saving. Yes, it does. We have to correct. That's a simple example, but we have to correct these tapes that we tell ourselves over and over and over again. If it's not serving you, discard the tape. We have to correct the message. And so, and I challenge you out there, particularly my strong friends, what are you telling yourself about yourself that you're not being honest about? Not the you that shows up at the networking session, right? At the chapter meeting, at church, at the Saturday at the watering hole. What's the you that's by yourself in the shower, in the car? The you that's just, sitting somewhere. What is the you that's first thing in the morning at the start of this day or last thing at night at the end of the day? What is that you telling you about yourself that may be leaving you stuck, stagnated, stalled, and stopped? That may be telling you can't do because of what you did in the past in particular. We got to correct that. And then sometimes we have to neutralize. Sometimes it's, well, when I go around those people, I feel this way. When I do that, I feel this way. Or I think they, right? So sometimes we got to neutralize behaviors. We have to neutralize places. We have to neutralize people so we can get clarity. Well, do I still feel this way? Right? If I don't engage with them that way, does that still come up? So we have to correct and neutralize, because through correcting and neutralizing, we can know what to let go. Acknowledge, correct, neutralize, let go. You have to acknowledge. Then you have to get real with yourself about what you are telling you about you. You have to correct those tapes, neutralize some behaviors that are not serving us. It's hard. Especially when it comes to consumption. How are we spending our time, our money, our resources? We have to neutralize some behaviors and let go of that which we now have clarity around, which isn't serving us. So once we know this, right? We say this, we've heard some version of this before. How do you do it and maintain it? That's the question. Well, I'm going to tell you. What helped me move system, self, sorrow, feelings, fear, and facts from my sight line? Because that's a lot of the stuff that leaves us stuck, stagnated, stalled, left standing and stopped, right? Well, some system told me I can't, I got to wait. So the internal self is now doubting. Well, when mama was alive, I used to. Now in our feelings of sorrow, victimization, grief. Oh, well, I can't go back to school. I am not going to be able to do it. I can't. I can't take those classes. I'm not going to be able to pass a test. Well, last time I took the test three times and didn't pass. The facts. That's just the facts. I can't try it again. All these things still are sightlined day in and day out from our experiences of the past. This is what we have to acknowledge. Why do we got to acknowledge it, DeShawn? Because it's there. It's there. And it's bumping you up. So we got to correct some things, neutralize some things, and let go of some things. So how do we do that? Well, there's a quote that I've heard often in business. It says, balance is the art of leadership, And I add the science of life. Everything in life comes through balance, right? Equilibrium is about brings balance, though it's off balance often, if you catch that. So you balance you. Yes, we seek help. I'm a coach, I'm a therapist, but I don't go home into your body with you. I'm not there with your partner with you. You balance you. You have to take the knowledge that you acquire, the support that you rely on, and you have to deploy it within you. Well, how do you go about deploying that? Well, when you recognize something must change, you got to first then ask yourself, what is the inspiration behind the change? I want to look better. Well, I don't want to have to think about how much money's in my account before I swipe my card when I want to purchase something. I want to make more money. I want a higher position, title. What must change? What's the inspiration behind it? And then what tools do you have available? We often get stuck and stagnated at, I want change, and we never take the step to recognize, well, how do we create that change? There's some tool available to you. You might not go from 0 to 100 in a blink of an eye, but my goodness, you can go from 0 to 100 in some amount of time when you set a plan and you map it out. But again, you must acknowledge where you are, what has occurred, what you need, so that then you can correct anything that's not serving you, neutralize that which is questionable and doubtful, so you can understand and have clarity around what to let go. And when you're uncertain about that, you can step back and ask yourself, what is the change that I desire? Then what is the inspiration that I have behind that change, right? The change that I desire is I want to get off blood pressure medicine. My inspiration behind that is, well, blood pressure medicine is expensive and I was fat. Well, what were the tools that could help me? Detox and changing my diet and adding exercise. I had to balance me out on that. Others could support me, but I had to balance me, right? And when doubt came in, I had to be able to step back to and get back to my inspiration. I had to be able to see a sight line, not of sorrow, systems, feelings, fear, and facts, but I had to see a sight line of inspiration and tools. So where was this sight line of inspiration and tools going to come from when I'm moving out of bed, stuck, stagnated, stalled, and sitting stopped? Well, it was going to come from within me. Because if it was going to come from outside of me, it would have come. I had to sit still and get quiet with myself in order to make use of all the other knowledge and wisdom that had been deposited within me. And this I have heard also from whether business leaders, individuals who've navigated through life transformation and change and overcome through trauma to build and a bridge to triumph. At some point, they had to sit still, get quiet, acknowledge what they had experienced, what they were experiencing, figure out what they had to correct within their locus of control themselves. And most often that required neutralizing some access so that you could know what to let go and be able to step forward. If you let nothing go, you never step out new. Catch that. If you let nothing go, you never step out new. If you're carrying everything that you've been carrying, well, there ain't nothing new about that. But when you go to the place to trust yourself to be vulnerable enough to be still and quiet, what will you find? Well, I'm here to give you a framework from the lens of spirit and body. For me, spirit is the conscious and subconscious authentic self that exists beyond this body awareness. There's awareness that I have that's beyond the body. My sense of hearing receives and projects an awareness that's beyond the body. There's a sense of touch, right? The air, swath. The air isn't tangible, but I can feel it from across the room, right? So there are intangibles in our existence? Well, for me, my spirit is the authentic self that is intangible. That is the collective of life wisdom around me, of me, beyond just my body, right? And all that is my spirit gets delivered and played out through my body. And so for me, within that spirit, there's internal inspiration. There's a part of me that was always me, right? The gifts, the talents, the characteristics, the unique traits, the things that I like. So I have something internally within me that is inspiration to create from, to cultivate a life, to build a strategy forward beyond the trauma, the pain, the challenge. When I dare do that, that gets deposited in my soul. It's in that conscious awareness place, right? So your soul is this conscious awareness of that which is intangible, connected to your life experience memory, right? Feelings, emotions, people. Well, then that is what we get to deliver, what we bring present and present in life. So if within our soul body, all that we're pulling from and reacting from is fear, is pain, is woundedness, then all that we're going to be positioned to deliver, to be present for, or present to the world is fear, pain, and woundedness. This is why so many of us cannot move beyond the trauma and the pain. We have not refueled ourselves with that which is actually love cultivated, created, and inspired. Whether it be professionally or personally, when we get into the mindset place of lack and deficit, it's coming out of a place of self-doubt and a lack of love for ourselves that personally doesn't allow us to put ourselves first and foremost, what's best for us. And sometimes professionally doesn't allow ourselves to exert and to do that either. And so love is that universal, right, energetic tool that can reconnect us back to our authentic self, to reinform us of the gifts, the talents, the abilities, the experiences we have come through that have equipped us to navigate through whatever we are experiencing now, and positions us to be able to remain inspired, be able to create a new strategy path forward, cultivate new ways of being, and to deliver that to be present and presented in our lives. And so we can tap into that when we get quiet and still, and tap into that authentic leadership place. When I say the authentic leader of your life, that is that intangible you that I know to be spirit, right? That is beyond the body and the reactive experiences, beyond the us that has formulated in response to the world. Because there is a us that is still our authentic selves that is beyond the reaction to the world. And then there's that which we present that has been formulated as a response to that which we have experienced in life. And so how do we tap into this authentic spirit self that has this internal inspiration and ability to create and to cultivate? Prayer and I offer you prayer and meditation. And I offer you prayer and meditation from this place of the invitation to reposition and reprogram how you see prayer. For me, prayer is as a communication tool to authentic spirit and the collective conscious that I know to be God, right? So my authentic spirit, the me that is authentically me, absent the me that presents in reaction to the world, right? The me that knows me as I am, absent reaction to the world, with a pathway to the collective whole of consciousness that is good, right? That brings forth life with intention of good, that I call and know to be God. Prayer is communication. Prayer is not just performer in a religious setting. Prayer is just not communication out for the presentation of faith. Prayer is active. Prayer is also, in the foundational intention of it, is active communication to authentic spirit and the collective consciousness, awareness of spirit that I know to be God. So prayer is communication. Folks say, well, how do I talk to my authentic self? How do I get back to me? Well, prayer is a tool to do that. We allow everybody else to send us messaging. I'm here sending you messaging, right? But in order for this to resonate and really connect with you, you have to take these tools and this inspiration and information and let it sit with you and your authentic self so that you can deploy it. Because things have to sit with us, settle within us, so that when the crisis or challenge comes, we have it available to deploy. It's imagine a crisis pops up. You got a brand new tool set, but you ain't never opened it up. Well, it ain't ready. You got to go find where it is. You got to unpackage it, unpackage each tool, get it ready, right? Prayer positions us to have an open line of communication with our authentic self and God, collective consciousness of good and love, absent reaction to the world. You can sit with yourself and connect with self and God and get an honest response. Yes, you can. And so prayer and meditation together exponentially increases your connection with self, your ability to navigate through unexpected change. If prayer is communication, meditation is a tool to get quiet and still. Prayer is the communication. Meditation is the tool. Meditation gets us in our seat. It quiets our mind. Focus, steals our focus, so that then we can communicate. Communication is multiple ways, right? It's hear and receive. And so what meditation does is allows us to step out of the noisiness of the world, the thinking of the reactiveness to everything we have to deal with, get still, get quiet, so then we can hear from us to us through to God. And when we do that and allow ourselves to take that posture, there is nothing that can be thrown at us that's going to permanently lock us out of our power seat. We're not going to be stuck in stagnation, left, stopped, or permanently stalled, because we are equipped and have tools to know how we can get still, get quiet, go and communicate so that we can have clarity to be able to acknowledge what is occurring, what has occurred and is occurring, to make corrections, neutralize, let go, so we can move beyond. That has been my experience with prayer and meditation. So you can take your seat as the leader of your divine life, the life that is beyond this body reaction, when we allow ourselves to commune and communicate with God in spirit. And not only just talk, everybody knows prayer as performance, but to actually be still, be quiet, and hear. And meditation is a tool that helps us still the mind so we can actually anchor in to that connection. A lot of us have spiritual awareness connection, particularly in presence of others, religious ceremonies, emotional events. But how do you anchor that into you so that you are positioned to maximize it and leverage it? Because there's a vault within us that has knows the best strategy for moving beyond everything we're dealing with: addiction, grief, sorrow, imbalanced consumption in any kind of way. And the tools and other things that come, just like this tool, can best be leveraged when we are actually able to reflect upon them and deploy them from this place of stillness, a still mind, an anchored spirit that has open line of communication to God that is two-way. Not just talking, I need this, I want this, I'm scared of this. But communicate to me what is best about me, for me, because me knows me best. And when you tap into that, it allows you your seat of existence, the posture and position that you're taking in life, which is your power seat, to be fueled by self-love, truth, and hope. And when you position your posture and position in life from a place of self-love, truth, and hope, there's nothing. You will, one business goes down, you'll raise another business up. You lose one position, you'll come back as CEO. You will cycle. There may be crisis or collapse, but achievement is always on the horizon. And it allows you to be ready and available to pour out into this world, whether that is sustaining your own health and being, our number one priority in life and existence, or through vocation, our work, what we produce and create in the world. There's a lot of toxic pouring happening into the world, toxic leadership, toxic communication. Well, this is a way to set a posture and position and intention that is counter to all that toxicity. By getting still, getting quiet, getting anchored, focused on self-love. When we focus in, get still, quiet, and anchored, and focus in on self-love, the only thing that we can receive back is more of that love, that grace, gratitude, that then allows us to step forward into the world and pour and position from a place of thanksgiving. This is what is possible when we bring prayer and meditation together as communication and practice with our authentic selves and God and spirit. And we can truly begin to see transformation and change manifest in our mental, emotional, and subconscious and spiritual existence. So to recap, how do you let go? Acknowledge, correct, and neutralize. And acknowledge what has happened, what is occurring, its impact, correct that which isn't serving you, particularly negative self-talk and negative tapes that you tell yourself. We can talk. If you're interested, come and let's talk about self-sabotage and letting go of negative self-talk. I have a workshop I do on positive intelligence about that. Neutralize some behaviors because we got to create some change in order to create new. So then we have clarity around letting go. Very often there's analysis paralysis over what we should stop doing and let go. Well, when we acknowledge what has actually happened, when we correct that which isn't serving us and neutralize that which we are uncertain about, we have clarity around what to let go. From there, we can step out into a world that may have systems, self, sorrow, feelings, fear, and facts just covering the whole sightline. And we can begin to move them to the sidelines. Still there, but not clouding our sideline. And from there, when we begin to now tap into, when we clear that sightline and begin to tap into the internal love-based inspiration to create and cultivate a life that we are joyful and confident about delivering and being present for, then we can present more good of ourselves for ourselves in our lives. And hey, again, the bubbles of sorrow, system, fear, facts, self, and pain may still be there, but I see a clear sight line because I am positioned, I am focused, and I am in still and consistent communication with my authentic self and God and spirit. And when you do that, if you follow me, you know what I'm going to say. All things are possible, and there truly is nothing out of reach. Doesn't matter what comes. It may knock you, but it won't rock you. You will be tooled to be able to retool, reposition, make the pivot to continue forward. My goal was to share some inspiration, to give some energy, to energize you, to help reconnect you with your authentic self that I know to be spirit, to inform you of some of the ways that you can do that so that you can begin to retool how you navigate through the things that may have caused you to be stuck, stagnated, or left you stopped. okay, in your life. And so my hope is that you are inspired and encouraged to take your place in your power as your power seat, as the authentic leader of your life, leading from within, no matter what trauma, pain, or challenge you have experienced, because you are fully equipped to move beyond this moment or that moment and experience the more of you that is ready to pour out in life. I'm Jeffrey DeShawn Richardson. I am a coach and a counselor. Check us out at einspiredmuse.com, Restoration Station, DC. Until next time, thank you.
Recording stopped.